like to demonstrate an application that uses Cucumber that I switched from version Cucumber-Java8 to Cucumber-Java is working as expected. I'll just give you a quick overview of how this is set up differently than the typical Cucumber Java application that uses Cucumber Java is set up. I have a step definitions class. In the step definitions class, I have steps that can be reused. Typically, you set up a step definitions class for every test, and the way that I have it set up is I have the methods here, and in the methods, I pass in, I pipe all of the methods or the classes and methods that are required for the steps using a dispatcher here. So the dispatcher it detects the test by tag name and executes the step for the class based on the tag name for the test and the specific step. So we have a transporter record here, and I have a steps class set up for each test, and reusable methods in those in the steps class for executing each one of the steps. So the way I have it set up a little differently. So I have one step definitions class that handles all of the commands that are located in the feature file, and then for each step or for each test, I have a steps class that has all of the methods that are executed for each step. Let's see, what's a good example here? I click. I use that 1,000 times, so I have I set it up so this extends or implements a interface that has a specific steps that can be reused, and then for each step, I basically have it set up where it collects the the classes and methods that are piped in through the step definitions method, and which are executed here. One other thing, I also have a class set up with methods for the for WebDriver, and this class has has a number of WebDriver methods that can be reused. It has the WebDriver driver, wait, and JavaScript executor. So all these can be reused in my tests. So it's pretty easy to spin up a test, and I'll demonstrate how that works. Let me go back to my step definitions class. This also leverages Testcontainers. So for Testcontainers, we'll basically record it. Executes the test in a container, obviously, and then it records the execution of the test, so we can take a look at it once it's done. So let me just go ahead and run one of these, and using Testcontainers. That's weird, man. Okay. It's a site I developed years ago, and the client's it's still a current site. I mean, it's still up and running. We'll execute this by tag name. And these are basic tests. However, they have uncovered issues, and where by monitoring these, executing and monitoring these tests, I've been able to see if check the status of the different sites, and if something's broken, the test will fail. And I've gone out and fixed the issues both for Certified Collision and for Marine Bay. So that just completed. Let's go down into the Certified Collision here. This was just run 7:37. Today's the 28th. All right, cool, man. So open in Finder, watch it run. This thing's so fast, but it navigates through the different, there we go. Okay, it just basically navigates to each page and checks for errors. It's just a high level test. I mean, it provides high level coverage for that website, and they use it for they still use it for their company. So I want to make sure that's up and running. Okay, so let's go ahead and change that from Testcontainers to run locally. Just a null. And we'll run the Marine Bay test. So let's go ahead and do that by tag name. And that is, we'll go in, search for two different boats. Everything seems to be working there. That completed. One other thing I'll mention too is for data tables, I basically use set up a method called a perform step. And the reason for that is you can pass in any data tables you want and manage those in one place. And here, this manages these data tables. And we can take a look at this data table. And this is just basically covers the search form, the boat search form. But let's say I could add a switch statement here and handle any number of data tables I want for a test. But I would rather, to me, it's just easier to set it up so you reuse methods rather than reinventing the wheel every time you create a test. I maintain over 1,000 tests for my day job, and I just found that it's easier to set it up this way. So let's take a look at the build results here. One thing I see that I need to fix is that Maven's not tallying the totals here, the stats, so I'll get that fixed up. I had that problem when I switched over from, I think I'm not sure when I updated the version of Cucumber, or from Java8 to Cucumber-Java, or if it was when I updated the version of Spring Boot, not sure. But I'll get that fixed up. All right, so we wanted to take a look at the build results for Marine Bay. Just take a pic of those. And one thing here is I've set it up where you can see what it's looking for. I typically log the details for each step. I haven't done it yet with this specific version, but so that you can use this to basically manually go through the step, manually go through the steps to troubleshoot the test. In a case where the test failed, you can manually reproduce the steps. You can use the details that you log out for each step to manually go through and try and reproduce the issue that caused the test to fail. So just to give you an example of how that works, this is a newer test, so I didn't do it here. Well, let's go here. So let's say I am on page. This should have a doesn't have a log drive title. This should is, well, let me do this. I don't use var. Is URL equals. I want to know exactly what I'm using, which methods I'm using. It's just easier for me. Sometimes, I've used it in cases where I don't know exactly what. I'll let IntelliJ figure out which class to use and use autocomplete. Okay, so we do that. Get URL, and then we would just log it. So that way I could. Okay. So we'll log the URL and the page title. So I click. Join for free. Let's see here. This one's going to be a little bit harder to. Okay, so we'll do CSS x dot locator string text by. So we just locator, and then we'll pass in this. Just to give you an example of how this works. So we do. And this uses CSSX locator click equals. Almost finished here. I'll save that for right now. Let's go ahead and pass in the locator here. Oh, locator, and then we'll get the locator. And before since this is a record, I can just log this out. Print this out in the logs. And then we'll do CSS or locator. Nope. Yeah, locator. I click to string. Alright, now let's run that again. I better do a clean install compile. I didn't have to do this. I also converted from Gradle to Maven. Seems like I've had better luck with Maven since I've updated to the latest versions of Spring Boot and Java 24. So it exercises the search form, the boot search form. So let's go back now. This guy should be repopulated with the most recent, and we can take a look here. There's the title. I can just go to this page, and then if I want to see what I clicked on, I click, sorry. Here it is. Okay, this is the one that we actually logged to the screen. But these should all have the details for the locator. But you can basically go through and use this locator to try and reproduce, use all the details that you logged out here in the report, try and reproduce the issue. Okay, so one other thing I'll demonstrate. I developed a microservices application and set up tests to provide coverage for those for the application that I have running locally. This is, let's go to deployment. So it has a number of services here. These are all the different services are running using Java. I wasn't able to get it working with Spring Security. The gateway using Docker. However, my database, the instance, the key cloak, and my services are all running using Docker, and also Spring Boot's native image. So these things spin up real quick, and I mean, you can start this thing in milliseconds or whatever it is that it takes. It's pretty efficient. So just to show you where that is running here, localhost 9000. Okay, I can log in using Keycloak, which I love this, and password. Now, then I have my different services here, vital signs. We can remove, you can edit. Totally cool. Spring Boot. Alright. And that should be here. Totally cool Spring Boot, yeah. Refresh that. We can get rid of that. And get rid of this. And then we'll go back to browse medication. I set this up so I can record, you know, any medications that I take, my vital signs, also any providers that I see. We'll keep that. Let's go ahead and just say edit, generic, brand. It works. That automatically updates, tells me when it was last modified. And this is also using the JWD token to map this record to the user logged in here in the database. Okay, and then we also have browse providers. So let's get rid of these things. And then we'll run the tests. These are basically, it adds a record for each service. Let me get back to my Cucumber-Java. Farewell to the Lambda. step capability that I use for the step definitions. Okay, so if I can go here, I'll set up a tag name to run all these, add record, see if this works. Add medication. Add new provider. And then add new vital signs. All right, the health of your application looks good. And we'll just go in and just demonstrate that those records were added. So 2 for providers, 2 for medication, and for the medications, and 2 for vital signs. And this was just added. Today is the 28th at 11:52. Wait, sorry. '28th. Created. 7:53. So here it is right here. Sorry. It was created on the 28th at 7:52. And it's now the 28th at 7:53. Alright, so this is 6:28 T11, so that's giving me a different time there, so I have to look into that. But anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching.